Welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the experience and decision that shape who we have become. Our today's guest is Steve Rotermund, an author, speaker, pastor, and recovery coach, whose journey has taken him across addiction, codependency, spiritual struggle, and restoration. Through Walk Right Ministry, Steve now helps others discover healing, purpose, and identity in Christ, drawing from his own stories of brokenness, faith, and transformation. It's really a pleasure and honor to have you on the show.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for the invite, and it's always wonderful to talk about Jesus.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve. So, Steve, can you take us back to your early life and what shaped your understanding of love, faith, and identity?
Well, growing up, I didn't have the love that I needed. I was drinking from an empty cup because unfortunately my mother abandoned me when I was a young child.
Mm,
Parents got divorced, and then my father was an alcoholic off and on. He loved me the way he could, but when you have this distorted view, it's kind of hard to picture what true love is until you really know Christ. Growing up, I was just in trouble with my father. I felt that he tolerated me, he loved me, but was just waiting for me to mess up and just making me feel like I wouldn't amount to anything. And he loved me the way he could. He was drinking from an empty cup as well growing up. And moving on from that, I was sexually molested by a neighbor for a season. And when you come out of those situations growing up, you really have a distorted view of love.
yeah.
And you really have a distorted view of your value and how you feel worthy. Because there's a lot of shame, a lot of I'm not good enough. And when Adam and Eve messed up in the garden, obviously we have that already built into us.
Yes. Yeah.
So to add trauma from a childhood on top of it, your view of God is like you view your heavenly or your earthly father. It's he loves me, he kind of tolerates me. Jesus is there to sneak me in the back door. And you have that separated view. You have that I'm not good enough to be in the presence of him. You just have all those feelings growing up, and it's very distorted.
Yeah, really distorted. So what was it? What was the relationship with your father like?
It was not I can't say it was a horrible relationship. It was just one that didn't give me the emotions that I needed as a child. I felt that I wasn't good enough for him. My older brother, I was the baby. My older brother did very well in school, was, just working all the time, doing the things he should be doing. And I just didn't do good at school. I just didn't like it. I hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be there. I was a dreamer. I wanted to play. I wanted to do all these different things. So that really upset my father. And I remember sitting down one time with him, and he was just giving me the riot act. And he said words that no child should ever hear.
Mm.
Why
Wow.
can't you be like your brother? When he said, why can't you be like your brother? I knew that I would never please him. But growing up, it was just the relationship. It was just a toxic relationship. And again, it's no fault of his. He loved me the way that he knew how to love me. And whatever trauma he had as a child or whatever he had growing up obviously affected him. And I'm at a place of peace at this moment with him. We have a great relationship now. I don't put any expectations on him to be my father. I don't put expectations for him to say he's proud of me. I don't put expectations to say all these things that you would want a father to say. I love my dad because he's my father.
Yeah, amazing.
He's found Christ as well.
Glory.
Yes, so he's been redeemed, and he's been a transformed human being just like I am.
Wow, that's really, really lovely having him being part of the faith and not in the other side. Yeah, that's really amazing. So, at what point did you first step into ministry, and what did that season represent for you?
I was called into ministry in the early 90s. Here in the U.S., there was a movement called the Promise Keepers, and they were globally. I don't know if you remember those movements, or that movement. You might be a little young.
Yeah,
But
very young.
it was a men's ministry in the mid 90s. And it was, you're going to be a better leader. You're going to be a better husband. You're going to be a better father. And I went to an event and came back home, and I'm like, man, I'm going to talk to men like this someday, and just had that call put on me. And I started volunteering at different ones throughout the country and started going and being a part of it. And I was running a business at the same time. And unfortunately, money won over God. So I ended up going into business and chasing that dream for a long time. It wasn't until I found out that my wife was addicted to pain medication 3 years into our marriage that
Mm.
it started to change how we viewed God. It started to change a bunch of things. And we went through ups and downs of addiction, facing that. And we moved to Ohio in the early 2000s to try to start fresh. You know, you run from your problems, right? You
Yeah.
think you're starting fresh, but you're just running from the trauma,
Yeah.
and it's going to catch up to you someday. So we moved there. Some neighbors, our kids were playing with some neighbor kids, and they came down, introduced themselves to us and said, "Hey, would you like to go to church?" It's like, man, we haven't been to church in a long time. Let's get back to church. And so we ended up going that Sunday, and it was like nobody was in the room. The preacher was talking directly to me, and I just came out of there floored. And it's like, I've got to do this. I've called into ministry, and I told the pastor. He took me under his wing, and I became started with men's ministry, and as I was studies and learning, and then it turned into I was a children's pastor, I was a WANA director, I was Celebrate Recovery director. Just started doing all these things. Ended up getting into planting a church, had my own church, had a radio ministry, just going crazy for the Lord, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
The addiction came back, and I started battling my wife's addiction again. And I kept it a secret from the church, didn't tell anybody. And it just became so shameful, so hurtful. I was so angry. I was a complete wreck, trying to keep it a secret, not knowing why God wasn't transforming us and transforming her. I'd love on people, preach Jesus, go home, belittle my kids, belittle my wife, because I didn't know how to handle the emotions. I didn't know how to handle all this stuff, and just realize that, man, I'm not even transformed. I love Jesus, but I'm a jerk still. And I didn't understand it. And it got to the point where she was falling asleep on the front row at the church and just nodding off. And I was so angry at God, and I was so shameful. I walked away. I walked away from the church, the ministry, and I walked away from him. And I said, if you're not going to help me and you're not going to fix her, I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with all of this. And I walked away. And that was 2 years of hell that I walked through.
Oh, that was really, really a whole lot then. Wow, wow. So what did your healing journey look like during those 2 years of personal struggles and reflection?
I had a great friend that stuck beside me through all of this. He said, you need to go to this Christian counselor. He's really good. I'm a guy. I don't need Christian counseling. Are you kidding me? I can fix all this myself. And then I got this great idea. Hey, if I go to this professional, I can get him on my side, and he can tell my wife that she's wrong and she needs the help, and there'll be two of us. And he's a professional, so she'll have to get fixed, right? So that's the thought process behind it. So I ended up going, and I wasn't there 15 minutes, and he said, you're part of the problem. You have codependency? Yeah. He's like, you're destroying your family just as much as she is. You're just using emotions and you're not using a drug. I was so angry. I wanted to leave. I was just so angry. And after the session, I left, went home, got on the computer, and started looking at everything about codependency. And I never knew I had it. It was a word that was kind of thrown around in the recovery world, but I didn't think I had it. And I started connecting the dots to every single relationship I had, going, oh my gosh, I have codependency. So I went back, and I went back for 7 more years. Yeah. So
That's really
yeah. So in the midst of that, he said, you need to find your identity in Jesus Christ. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm a pastor. I preach Jesus, had a radio ministry. I know this. And he's like, no, you need to go from feeling as an adopted son to the spiritual son with the full inheritance, and understand your worth and what the full inheritance is. And we went down that road for a long time, and it just blew me away. And God just got a hold of me and just ripped all of that nastiness out of me, and all that hurt and all that pain, and just completely started to transform me.
Yeah, amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
that was really amazing, and it's really lovely hearing this, having to know that. Yeah, having gone through all of that, and yeah, more like uh, surrendering to Christ again and having the redemption and every burdens and every of those particulars things taken away, and yeah, you've been new again. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. So how did that transformation lead to the creation of Walk Right Ministry?
It wasn't a quick thing. We're talking total of 12 years that I started going back to church, and I had some walls up, but I started going back to church, and then just letting him work on me. Well, I started to get back into things, and it was always the question, did I mess up in ministry? Did I have my one shot and I'm never going to be used again? And that's when he kind of nudged me to say, hey, you know all that journaling you do? Yeah, make a pretty good book, wouldn't it? I'm like, okay. So I worked on the book, and the book is pretty much my life story matched with my view of God, and how he transformed me, and what we think of God in the perfect plan, and what we do of all that. But I didn't write the book to sell books. I wrote the book to heal that child that was molested in that trailer. I truly believe that that's what it's for. And if people want the book, that's great. If they don't, it was for me. It was for me.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
yeah. And I ended up healing from that and moving on and still wondering, God, are you going to use me in ministry? And he then pushed me towards doing these kind of like a recovery program for people that were like me, that are married with an addict, followers of Christ, and are just confused and messed up. Our view of God, how we view our spouse, codependency, and all that stuff mixed in. So I started creating this online community for people like that. And it just finished up. So we just launched the free area of it yesterday. So
Yeah.
good timing, huh? And it's an online community for those people. People like me, people that are partnered with an addict or married to an addict and just lost. And the whole mission is I just want to save people from the pain I went through for 13 years. If I can shorten it down a few years, that'd be great. If I can save their kids, that would be great, because nothing hurts more than watching your two older boys struggle in life because of what you caused. And that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
really
it breaks your heart, because I'll never dishonor their mother and say it was all her fault. She was an addict and blah, blah, blah. No, I was a codependent. I was addicted to her addiction, and I destroyed my family just as much as she did. So that's where the passion is. And before we got into blowing this thing up, I was just like, Father, why can't this ministry get going? And he said, you haven't forgiven yourself. And I got in quiet time and prayer time, and I never forgave myself for being a horrible father. And I never forgave myself for not being able to fix my ex-wife. And once I released that, man, the path just started to pave for me. He just started to step ahead of me. And we just started cranking out a whole bunch of material and stuff for this course. It just started to take shape.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. It's really lovely hearing your stories and seeing God in all of it at every point in time, helping you to heal, forgive yourself, and moving forward. It's really amazing. So how was the transformation of that of your wife and children?
Well, unfortunately, my ex-wife passed away. She never fought off those demons, and she overdosed 3 years ago. I had custody of the kids. We did get a divorce a while back. So that's why my two older boys see me transformed, but haven't plugged into it. They struggle. They both have some form of codependency. One's my oldest son, who's 29, just angry at the world, hates the world, just very mad. And I know he's not mad at me. And we have a decent relationship. But again, I don't put any expectations on him. I just let him love me at his distance. Sons always come home, right?
Yeah.
And my 27-year-old son is actually living with me right now. He got wrapped up in a codependent relationship and ended up in jail, and had to get him out, and he's now starting over with me.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's lovely, and I know everything will work for good to them who love this great God. Yeah, and who are called to this purpose. And I know definitely they are going to join you, and it's going to be a lovely story hereafter. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, I can't go back into codependency. I can't go fix them. I tried to fix my wife for 13 years. I know that I can't step over that boundary and try to fix them, or I'll just get sucked right back into it. I just have to love them and where they're at, and love them in their mess. Just, Father told me that. He's like, just love them in their mess like I loved you when you were a mess. It's like, oh, wow, Father. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. So looking back, what has your journey taught you about pain, purpose, and spiritual restoration?
I have to say it's union. When, I'm going to paraphrase this, of course, but in John, when Jesus says, in that day, you'll know that the Father's in me, I'm in the Father, and we're living this life inside of you, and it's a union, that blew me away. I never would have preached that. I would have never preached that from the pulpit. It's, you're a wretched sinner. God's mad at you. Jesus is going to sneak you in the back door. And where are you going to go tonight if you don't know Jesus? He just killed me. He just wrecked me with love. I mean, once you change the view of God away from your earthly view of your earthly father or mother or somebody that raised you, and you realized how much you're worth, what the redeeming blood of Jesus Christ actually did for you, there's just no going back.
Yeah.
I can't be wrecked. I don't base my life off of circumstances anymore. I don't base my life off of any of that. I know that I woke up to love today. I woke up to be love. I woke up to be love and light to other people. That's what was transforming. Knowing that I had a relationship with God before the foundations of the earth, and that they continue, when Jesus died upon that cross, they continue to have a relationship with me. They've been entangled in me, this whole time.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So, what are some about the common misconceptions people have about faith and recovery?
About faith and recovery?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people misunderstand that they want to fall into the religious mindset that it's all about behavior modification. It's you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this. In my community, helping people with codependency, of course, you need to stop the things that you're doing that are causing pain, but you can only stop the behavior for so long. We work on the inside. We let Jesus work on the inside and transform you so you won't want to do those behaviors, so you won't want to be codependent, so you won't want to do that. That's the misconception people have. They think faith is rules, and they think faith is a strict relationship, or I call it a diet relationship. You know, I've got to do this, I got to pat my head, I got to wiggle my toes, I've got to pray, I've got to read the Bible, and you know, it's all these checklist things that we have to do, and that is not good for faith and recovery because it keeps you stuck. It just keeps you stuck. You have to understand that the truth really will set you free, and you have to understand that Jesus is in the transformation business. We didn't, you know, I don't know how it is there, but over here in Western Christianity, we're a Christian because we go to church every day or every week. And that's why we're a Christian. We got a ticket to go to heaven. And it's not about, I'm sorry, but Christianity is not about going somewhere. It's about transforming now and being transformed. Heaven's going to be great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But everybody's in a hurry to get out of here, but they're complete jerks. You know,
Yeah.
they'll go raise their hands, sing in church, la, 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 do all these
Yeah.
great things, and then they're at the buffet yelling at the waitress because it's taken too long.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really amazing because even the scripture make reference of the fact that through his word, yeah, be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind through the word. And also even while he was praying to the Father, I was of the opinion that don't take them out of this world, but keep them in this world. And definitely he knows that there's a whole lot of things for us to do in here. So transformation is the goal towards becoming more like him every now and then. And it's really amazing.
You can't be afraid or full of shame. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And, you know, when Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father, what's that really mean to you? Does that mean that the Father really looks like Jesus? And if he does, that's going to blow a lot of people out of the water.
Ooh.
Because we don't view God that way. But once you get transformed, you do. Because Jesus did all the stuff that the Father did and the Father told him to do. We get stuck in a religion and think that we're just pieces of dung and God just tolerates us. And that's just not it. That's not union. That's not love. And that's not transformation.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much. It's really a pleasure having you on the show and sharing your experience. So, Steve, from our audience who would love to connect with you, reach out with your book and connect with you. How can they reach out to you and where's the best platform?
It's real easy. It's walkrightministries.com. And if you go to walkrightministries.com, there's information about the book. I do speaking engagements. I do coaching. The community's on there. I have a podcast myself that is it's called Recovery and Identity, which you can find there. And it talks exactly about stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah, amazing. So lastly, what advice will you give to someone who feel distant, do feel spiritually lost or distance from God?
There's victory on the other side of your trauma. There's victory on the other side of your pain. You don't have to live that lie. You don't have to believe that lie that you're less than, that you're not worthy, that you're unholy, that you're not righteous.
Ooh.
Don't believe that lie. You can live in the old Adam who died upon the cross, right? When Jesus died upon the cross, the old Adam got killed, and Paul teaches it all through the New Testament. That old self is gone. It's a mindset. Live in the new self. Live in the new mindset of I'm forgiven, I'm redeemed, I'm blameless. God doesn't look at me with any scar on me. I am just totally clean, totally free, and totally righteous.
Yeah.
And once you can get over that hump and you understand that, it's a relationship. And you just dive in to want to read the Bible, to know more about him, to know his love deeper and deeper and deeper. And there's no restrictions whatsoever. That's all a lie.
Yeah.
So there's victory. There's victory and transformation.
Yeah, there's victory at the end of the side. Yeah, there's victory and transformation. Yeah, thank you so much, Steven. Thank you so much for sharing the whole of your insight. Yeah, it was really a pleasure.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Your story is one of our deep struggle, questioning, and ultimately our restoration. The journey just reminds us that identity is not defined by failure or pain, but it can be rebuilt through healing, faith, and the renewed sense of purpose. Yeah, it's really a pleasure and honor having you on the show.
Pleasure being here. I love talking about our great Father.
Yeah.
He's so good.